5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please do not change channel.
From Krypton Radio, brought to you by Famous Faces and Funnies and Off the Chain with Yvonne Mason, it's the Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour, the Internet's premier pop culture talk radio show. You're tuned in, you're logged on, and now your hosts, GW Pomichter and Christian Basel. Who are you hanging with?
Hello, Krypton Radio. Welcome to the Hanging with Web Show Radio Hour. I'm GW Pomichter.
And I'm Christian Basel. Hello there, folks. Who's that dashingly handsome guy that starts this show anyway?
That would be, we hired an actor.
Oh. I'm not talking about the countdown. Never mind.
Well, we had to do something to kick off the show just right.
I know. There goes
how you doing, man?
Not bad, dude. It's been an interesting week. We're in April now.
Yeah.
The time has flown. April Fools and Easter, I've never known that, and I've never known that growing up, that April Fools and Easter actually can be the same holiday. So go figure on that one.
Wow. Yeah, it was. We had kind of a nice combo here. We had some of the kids in the neighborhood were doing April Fools, but we had all the little kids outside. We had an Easter egg hunt that was like the whole block.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was great. Michael and one of his little friends, actually, they hid eggs for their friends. So,
oh, okay.
You know what happens when a 7-year-old hides eggs? Nobody can find them.
Yeah, because the ground is no longer optional. We'll put them anywhere.
That's right. It's wow. So it was what a great time though. We had a great show tonight, man. With any luck, and if the internet guys are with us, then we'll have a great panel coming in and out in kind of segments tonight. The show tonight we got set up for the art of cosplay and what it means in today's pop culture. So that should be a really good topic.
Oh, God, I'm the worst person to talk about cosplay at this moment.
Well, what's great is we get to talk. You and I get to talk about it with people who actually do it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I'll be the first one to say I've never really been courageous enough, I think, to come out of my own shell.
Neither am I.
Yeah,
it's kind of like talking about flying with from people who fly airplanes and going like, yeah, I've ridden a few planes before. That's about all I can contribute.
Yeah. Well, but it's
cosplayed
great
once or twice. Yeah, but that's about it.
It's great because the panel that we've got on tonight is so fantastic, and they do this all the time, and they're great at it. And so I'm looking forward to this. So, but before we get into that, we have again our sci-fi pop culture news segment, and Sage is going to do the news again for us. Sage, are you here with us?
I am here. I'm ready for the news. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Wait, find out, is Christian ready? There's a lot of news.
Christian, are you ready for the news?
I am. I'm always ready for Sage. Yes.
All right. Well, what's happening? What's happening in the world?
Okay. Well, ABC had Siren's debut on their Freeform app.
Caught that. Amazing.
The Dark Mermaid. That was really something. Very exciting. Very thrilling.
We've got government conspiracies, mermaids, fancy machines that don't exist. They call mermaids.
Predator mermaids.
Yes. With like piranha teeth.
Oh. Very much so.
Yeah. So, very cool. If you haven't checked that out yet, Christian, that's Freeform ABC. It's called Sirens.
Well, speaking of ABC, they also had another show debut just a couple days ago. It was The Crossing, which is time travel in a small northwestern town.
Because you need time travel in a small northwestern town.
You do. You absolutely do.
It gets really boring. After a while.
Well, in a
small western town.
That's right. The small northwestern town, it gets a little dull, so they add a little time travel.
Well, this is by the creators of Lost, so it'll be interesting to see what twists they throw in there, because they're going to be one.
We caught the pilot.
Okay.
And it was good. It really was. And it ended exactly where I didn't want it to end, so I definitely need an episode 2 now. Because I was like, no, I need more right now. And so, but it was a good, slow starting drama that centered around this, and they kind of dropped all the hooks that you need for your first season in that first episode.
God.
So that was a pretty good one coming out. There's a bunch more. That are coming that I've either seen or not seen, or seen teasers for too.
Well, we talked about this before. April is fun because we had Easter on April Fool's Day, but April also has a Friday the 13th, and that is when Lost in Space is dropping on Netflix.
That's right, Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Dr. Smith is a woman. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Fantastic.
That's cool.
I'm just a little bit taken aback because I think I'm still reeling from the movie that we all endured, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
And the thing I think everybody's favorite baddie from Lost in Space, that was the one real saving grace from the Lost in Space movie, was Gary Oldman delivered a performance that was.
I couldn't save that movie, unfortunately.
Well, you can only perform your way. You're a part of an ensemble cast, but what a great Dr. Smith he brought. So between the original television show and Gary Oldman's Dr. Smith, this new Dr. Smith is going to have some big shoes to fill. And she's got to scare us a little bit, but she's actually, she's a member of the crew for long. This is a television show, right? This is Netflix is going to do a series.
Yes, it's a whole series that'll drop Friday the 13th.
She can't be Oldman. She can't be Gary Oldman because she can't be, the bad guy, because she could be a member of the crew the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the original.
I said, well, speaking of ensemble casts, Westworld Season 2 dropped another trailer, and that is going to premiere on HBO April 22nd, and they have revealed Park number 2, and this time it's Shogun World, so we have samurais and katanas, and that'll be fun, and Ed Harris is back to frighten us on Westworld.
Wow. So robots in the Old West and now robots in feudal Japan.
They got Ginsu knives. They slice, they dice.
They slice, they dice. Oh my lord. It does. I read an Entertainment Weekly article that did say that Park number 2 was bloodier and gorier than Park number 1. So they're going to get into the gore.
Oh, I feel sorry for whoever's going to die over and over and over.
Bloody death continuously over and over again. You can't help it. What else you got? Got anything else?
I do. I have some fun things. Sci-Fi has actually confirmed season 4 of The Magicians.
Cool.
And for those that haven't caught up, the season 3 finale just dropped on Sci-Fi, so that will be streaming soon. And The Magicians is like Harry Potter, all grown up with brooding
college kids.
Yeah. But it's fun. Oh, I love it. I love Penny. He's got to be my favorite with his wise-ass remarks.
And for U.S. audiences, too, it's probably, they tackle, early 20-something life. It's a little more relevant to that U.S. population. Christian, have you caught that yet, The Magicians?
No, I don't know. I don't think you understand. Have you been keeping up with me? The thing, if you've been keeping up with me, I just caught The Force Awakens, and a lot of people have been razzing me, just like, where have you been? I'm like, this is my life trying to keep up with the Joneses here. But the good thing about it is with Netflix and all that, you can watch whenever you want to watch when you've got the time.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of streaming to do, especially that in the sci-fi, fantasy, pop culture world that we live in right now. Streaming is a gift, because there's so much content now to consume. It's and not only that, but you don't have to wait every single week for a new episode. If you just want to watch it once a week, if you just want to see 2 or 3 episodes and catch some new episodes the next day, whatnot. Yeah, it's nice to have that convenience. Yeah, without a doubt. We had awards. It was Hugo. The Hugo Awards are out, right?
Yes, they've announced some finalists. They have.
Yeah.
We have some great films in the running. We have Blade Runner, The Shape of Water, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Thor: Ragnarok, and Wonder Woman.
So, if you loved it in the sci-fi kingdom, it's probably up for a Hugo Award this year.
It probably is.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 2 has begun casting.
Oh, cool.
How fantastic is that? Yes, Oberon from Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal, he is going to be in Wonder Woman 2.
With both his eyeballs.
Hopefully with both of his eyeballs. Yes, that would be nice.
Less of a crushed skull.
Yes, and also, did you know that Linda Carter just got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I did not know that.
Yes.
She has it, or she's getting it?
She just did.
She just got it.
Just did.
Yep.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. And she's set for a cameo in this Wonder Woman 2 movie, correct?
Yes, she is. She's going to wait and see. It's up to the director. Really, they're going to tell Linda Carter no?
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Neither do I.
She's going to hand over the invisible jet.
Here's the keys. It's your problem now.
Well, we had some fun TV Hugo Award finalists.
Okay.
One of them was Star Trek Discovery. And
we just talked about this last week.
We did. It was for their Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad episode, and also and one of the Doctor Who episodes, Twice Upon a Time, written by Stephen Moffat, was also up for a Hugo Award.
There we go.
Okay, I'm going with Who. That's it. Done.
You're going with Who. There you go. So we got a Doctor Who episode is up for... who?
Exactly.
Who is Christian going for? Who?
Who? I'm going Who. All right, you two. Enough.
All right, well, I do have one last thing that I want to get out because I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The Deadpool 2 movie is set to premiere in the U.S. May 18th, and Ryan Reynolds has started a campaign on Omaze. He has teamed up with the Let's F Cancer group, and he is giving away a pink Deadpool costume.
I did see that. I haven't seen the video, but I did see the costume, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
How
I didn't know it was serious.
fantastic
That's cool.
is that?
That's cool. That leads us into our topic tonight, which is cosplay. And because cosplay, a lot of people don't realize a lot of cosplay is done for charity.
Yes.
And so, but that was the sci-fi fantasy news from Sagea. Thank you, Sage.
Absolutely.
And I know there's tons and tons more. I did want to touch on, Christian. I know you don't find a lot of time to binge and to keep up on all the latest shows that are out there.
I'm trying so hard.
I just caught one on Netflix. But what stood out about it, it's going to sound really mean, but sci-fi and fantasy audiences will understand where I'm coming from. It's called The Frankenstein Chronicles. And I just caught this. And what I think is perfect about it is it stars Sean Bean.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I haven't seen it, but I've actually seen it in passing. I'm like, what is that?
This is the perfect show for Sean Bean to be in because he can die in episode 1 and still be in all the other episodes because it's a Frankenstein show.
Yes, he's already dead.
Yes.
Right, he's like Kenny from South Park.
He's still here, but he's already dead.
I mean, he's like Kenny from South Park. He just dies and everything. But in this, he gets to die and still be in the rest of the show because it's Frankenstein.
That's so awesome for Sean
That is
Bean.
awesome. So Sean Bean found the perfect way to keep his job.
Jeez.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just kill him off at the very beginning.
And then let him come back as a Frankenstein-esque thing for the rest of the show. So there we have it. We are set here tonight to talk about cosplay, the art of cosplay, and what it means in pop culture and where you can find good cosplayers and what they do and why they do it and all of these fantastic creators that we've had a chance to meet in our travels. And on the line to start with, we have from the Florida Con Artists, we have Charles Watson and Teea Reisch. Guys, are you there?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for having us on.
Oh, thanks for coming on, guys. Thanks for coming on. Wow. Cosplay is a huge topic. So what we wanted to get you guys in here right early and talk a little bit about, for anyone out there on Krypton Radio in the sci-fi community who doesn't know what cosplay is or what gets people involved in cosplay, give us like a little, what do you guys see cosplay, what is cosplay, and why do you guys do it?
Wait a minute. Do you really think there's somebody out there who doesn't know what cosplay is?
There's that one guy who just accidentally tuned into Krypton tonight.
I'm going to buy him dinner and go, we need to talk, dude. Come on.
Yeah, we do.
You're listening to this show and you don't know anything. Okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So, Charles, tell us about cosplay, what it is, and what drew you to it.
Well, cosplay, the term originated in Japan, and it's actually a contraction taking the two words costume, and play, and kind of mashing them together. It's basically a hobby where, participants, people where we identify as cosplayers, and it's basically wearing costumes and fashion accessories that represent a specific character, either in sci-fi, comics, movies, anything you have a passion about, really.
And now, Charles, I know you have a whole group around you with the Florida Con Artists. Tell us a little bit about what brought you guys together.
Wow.
You mean G on him or the whole artist?
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys. I mean, we know, like you said, you cosplay. Something that you're passionate about. We know. Just for those of you out on Krypton Radio, Charles cosplays a number of things. Charles cosplays Batman. Iron Man. Tia does a great Wonder Woman that we've seen. But as a community, you have a whole group of cosplayers in the Florida Con Artists, and tell us what brought you guys together and what you do with the Con Artists.
I think when I first started getting into the craft, I have a theater background, I guess is where it really started. But then when I made the move over to cosplay, I kind of realized I was kind of looking for other people with similar interests that I could learn from, that I could grow with, and find some common ground where we could put together a group of people and just be passionate about the hobby and the craft. But that's how we first started. After we got off the ground, though, I quickly realized in my work with hospice and with hospitals and in the medical facilities that there was a need in the greater community to be kind of selfless and serve a greater cause. So we started visiting sick patients with hospice. We had children with 6 months or less life expectancy. And we just dressed up like superheroes and brought tremendous joy and peace to not only them, but their families. And then throughout the years, we've expanded that to Habitat for Humanity, Domino's Cat Rescue, believe it or not. And
somewhere out there's an actual Iron Man rescuing cats from trees.
Yes, there is. In fact, one of my prized possessions is I was gifted a little cat statue dressed like Iron Man. He sits on my desk. So,
this is why nerds rule the world, because we give the best gifts. That's fantastic. That is fantastic, man. That really is.
I see him building a house for Habitat for Humanity. The first thing I could do is, can I get Robert Downey Jr. to build me a pool in the back? I really need one real badly.
Yeah. Tia, what drew you into cosplay?
Oh, geez. I started originally about 11 years ago now, and I did it off and on for several years, but originally what got me into it was anime. I was really into a show called Naruto.
Okay.
And making the costumes for me and my group of friends, and that's kind of where it started. And AFO, Anime Festival Orlando, was really where it started for me, and then basically just got more and more into it over the years. In the last 2 years, really into it and really expanded my genres that I cosplay as now.
Wow. Well, you guys, we obviously we see you at conventions all through the year, traveling with the entire group. And you said you take the con artists. You guys do visits to hospitals and all the different charities. When we see you at conventions doing photo ops and just sharing that passion that you love, do you guys have a favorite cosplay that you do that is like, this is the one that's you? This is, if you could be anybody, that's who you'd be for a day.
I mean, hands down for me, it's our Avengers group, and for me personally, it's Iron Man. So that's kind of what I'm known for, and that's my favorite character to cosplay.
Now, Charles, you're doing something unique this year. We know you are 3D printing your Iron Man costume for this year.
Yes, so I currently have the 3D print is going to be my third suit. And in July of last year, I felt like I really needed to kick it up a notch and challenge myself. Because it's all about, learning and all about expanding skill sets and teaching yourself. So I am waist high in Iron Man parts.
Wow. We've been watching, you guys can check out the Florida Con Artists on Facebook. You can check them out, Charles Watson and the Charles Stark Foundry on Facebook. And you can keep an eye on that suit as it's being printed, like one knuckle at a time. Christian, have you seen this?
Yes.
Like literally one tiny piece at a time. You can watch Charles as he prints painstakingly.
Well, Teea does the same thing. I mean, I've been watching them putting their costumes and everything together, and Charles will put like, here's a fingernail, and here's a butt cheek, and here's my right rib and stuff like that. And what I love about this, even though you're watching them on Facebook and you're like, oh, okay, he's building another Iron Man, the commitment to the craft that they do, because they're putting a picture on here, and they're going, and I read the paragraphs of, okay, I've done this, and that, and they're always, correct me if I'm wrong, Charles and Teea, they're always like asking questions about the craft to other people. They're like, well, I'm looking for advice on how to do this, and that, which is wonderful about the cosplay community. Not only do they are dedicated to such a craft, but they're willing to help each other when they don't have the answer.
Yeah, it is. It's really an amazing art form, and we've got some more guests on the line too. Right now, we have, I believe, Jennifer Frandsen is on the line. Jennifer, are you there?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Jennifer Frandsen, Look Sew Good Cosplay. We also have Terance Baker on the line. I hope we got his mic working. Terance, are you there?
Can you guys hear me?
We can. You're a little staticky, but we can hear you.
Okay, let me try to adjust the volume.
Okay.
I might be close. Let me turn this one down. Okay, how about now?
A little bit better. Yeah, man.
I was about to say, take the mic and move it a little bit away from you.
But technical difficulties here. How about it? Is that okay?
There you go. Good job, man.
Good at this end, too.
Okay, sounds good, Jennifer. Okay, guys. Well, one of the things that we noticed about cosplay, and we wanted to talk about next, was how inclusive this is as a pastime and as something that people are doing. And we know, Terance, you run the Independent Creator Connection, but also the Cosplay Connection online.
Yes, that's correct.
And Jennifer, with Look So Good Cosplay, you also are a member of the Brevard Film and Talent Association, as well as other creative projects. What brings you guys to cosplay? Terance, what drew you into cosplay?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I've been a fan of cosplay even before I even knew what it was. I grew up in Gainesville, Florida, and one of my first experiences before I even knew cosplay was just going to Ocala. They had these water skiers. They would dress up as superheroes. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that event there. It was near Silver Springs or someplace like that. And outside of television and, cartoons and TV, that was really the first time I'd ever seen someone dress up as a superhero. And I think the first time I saw it was 9 or 10 or 11 years old. And I was hooked ever since. So, you grow up, you move on with life, but you still have that passion in the back of your mind. And as I started getting into it, I found out more and more about it and, the origin of it and where it came from and how it came to the United States and everybody that just really enjoyed it. And I was one of those people. And before I ever got my first costume, which was hilarious, by the way, it was put together with Scotch tape and cloth and shredded garments. I knew I liked it. But then as years progressed and I got more into it, I started getting a little better. And that's pretty much how I got into it. I've just always enjoyed it.
Wow. And I know you run also a cosplay magazine that you put out.
Yes. We have a couple of magazines. The one that I'm working on, I have two so far. One is myself and one is my wife. And we're also trying to get another one started in ICC. And we're in the beginning stages now, but we have a couple of issues published already. And they're all available online through my website and everything. We also work with a friend, Matt Blow. He's a photographer as well. He has a magazine called Cosplayology. And a lot of us are all trying to get together and network and just create something wonderful because there's a huge demand for it.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Jennifer, we know you from around town, from Look Sew Good Cosplay. Jennifer, tell us what drew you into cosplay and the cosplay community.
Well, it started off with doing costuming for my kids for their Halloween costumes, and then they got too big for that. And I had been playing a massive online role-play game called Armageddon, Mud, and we decided to meet in Atlanta for a get-together at the Dragon Con, and that was back in like 2005 or 6. And I got there, and I was like, oh, my God, these people are dressed up.
You found your tribe.
It was like I found my people. Ever since then, every year I went back for many years and found local cons. I go to more local cons in Florida now, so I can do more in a year instead of the one big trip. But just basically just fell in love with the people. Everybody is so passionate about what they represent. You make friends in lines that you will keep for years because you have interests in common. You go into it and find, like I said, you find your people.
And this is something that we talk all the time about, the things that bring us together, whether those things are school or work or these things. In the cosplay community, the thing that brings people together is the thing that you love. And
exactly, everybody represents and kind of like wears their hearts on their sleeves in their costumes and in the fan merchandise and
literally.
The art they do and everything. They wear their love out for everyone to see. And you want to make a friend, just ask them, if you don't recognize the character, ask them what they represent and be prepared.
Now,
they will be passionate about
what is it about
they'll talk your ear off.
Yeah. Terance, what is it about the cosplay community you think is so welcoming to new cosplayers and to new members of the community?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What is it about the cosplay community that you think makes it such a welcoming community for people to come in for the first time?
Oh, very easy. The thing is, it appeals to everyone in all ages. Anyone can do it. I mean, all you have to do is just have the passion for it. And you come to a community that has one person cosplaying or an entire group, they will welcome you with open arms because it's fun. And that's the bottom line. It is so much fun. Of course, there's competitions. You can get paid for winning and all that. But the actual, desire of putting a costume together and being recognized and then getting photographers in there, it's just a great community. Everybody welcomes you to it.
I have a question for all of you based upon what you just said, Terance, because in the community, even though it is a welcoming community, not everybody is so welcoming to it. And there's some people, even people who don't cosplay, who like to body shame. And this question's for everybody. What would you tell a person, maybe on this note, what would you tell a person who may be cosplaying for the first time, but they're having that issue or that anxiety of like, I'm not right for this person, I'm not right for the character, I don't think I look like this person. What would you tell them to get over that hump to try to translate their passion into something that they can display for everybody else?
Okay, let's kind of round robin this a little bit. So we'll start with Jennifer. Jennifer, what do you think?
I would say, first of all, don't do something you're not comfortable with. Always make a costume that you're comfortable representing because it'll make you more true to it. And after that point, if you're comfortable with it, do whatever your heart says. Don't let someone else's words define your existence. That's just foolish.
All right. Tia, how about you? What do you think?
Wow, that's very good advice. I mean, that pretty much is my sentiment exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good advice because it is hard coming into cosplay sometimes because it can be a little intimidating and you can be worried about bullying and stuff like that. But if you find a character that you look up to that you would love to represent, go for it. Be that character, even if you change up the cosplay a little bit so that way you can feel more comfortable in it. There's nothing wrong with that. So that way you can basically be true to the character.
Charles, what do you think?
Man, it's all really great. I would like to add to that. Just do it. Follow your passion. Get into it. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks because honestly, everybody else is worried about how they look. So nobody's really paying attention to you. and
that is true.
And there's a huge community. I mean, whether you think so or not, I promise you, there is a huge community that is ready to welcome you with open arms, and you'll find your place in the community. It's a very friendly community, and just don't hold back because of fear. Just do it.
Terance, now we know you do some cosplay with the whole family, so how would you answer that question in terms of finding a place for everyone from you and your wife and kids and finding a place for everyone in the community? How would you answer that question?
As far as finding a place in the community, I've learned so far in my short experience, because I've only really been cosplaying, and let me just say this, relatively for a few short years. And I'm by no means a designer or anything like that. Most of the costumes I get, I just accessorize. But I found that within the community, there are certain places that cater to us a lot more than other places. But even those places that don't cater to us immediately, they still welcome you with open arms. Case in point, Claremont Con CEO Scott told me, "Hey, Terance, I wish I had known you had the Black Panther costume, because I would have had you come down to the theater when they were premiering it, and you could have cosplayed him and stuff like that." And I was like,
cosplay is becoming more and more prevalent, not just at conventions and the places where we run into each other all the time, but when you go to a movie theater on a premiere night. I don't know, Christian, over your way, I don't know if they do it a lot. I know here at both theaters, we have cosplayers out at almost every premiere night.
Oh, yeah. And anytime they've had a premiere for like the Power of the Daleks, or they've had a Capaldi, there's at least quite a few people cosplaying. And not only that, but when I go to conventions now, I see a new attitude, because here's what I mean. Let's change the scenario. Let's talk about a sporting event like football. If somebody's wearing a Miami Dolphins thing, so God help them. But if anybody's wearing a Miami Dolphins outfit, there's always seems to be that rivalry against football players, or I should say football fans. They're like, oh, you like that team and all that. When it comes to conventions and cosplay, I see an integration instead of a separation.
You're liable to see Wonder Woman standing next to Iron Man and standing next to
Darth Vader, they're playing tennis, and the doctor's throwing the ball around with a sonic screwdriver.
It is.
Just never ask anyone what their favorite doctor is.
Yeah,
a wonderfully interactive community. Speaking of which, we've met each and all of you that we have in the panel tonight at various conventions around the state and around the country. In large part because of our Hangin with Web Show cosplayer, our little cosplay Michael. And because you guys have, that's why we wanted to talk to you all about how warm and welcoming the community is, because you guys have welcomed this little tiny 7-year-old into your community with open arms, and since he was 4. And that Christian, you had asked the question earlier about how do you find a place in the community, and there's in other places there's body shaming and there's these things, but in this community these are the people who they just see that you love the same thing as them and they invite you in.
Well, true cosplayers will make it part of the community. They're not going to. They have a story for best interpretation. They have a story to tell, and they want to relate it to you about their passion. I think that's the definition of a true cosplayer, as far as their goal of what they're doing, why they dress up. They have a passion and a story to tell you, and they want to relay it to you. How wonderful their interpretation or their character is.
Absolutely.
And they want to geek out. And, when it comes to... I've seen Charles and Teea, and I know Terance has done it before. And Jennifer, I would love to see you one day. But I know when it comes to the kids, they are going full geek.
Yes.
And you can tell by Teea and Charles going to those kids out there and just making their world a part of it, taking them out of their world and bringing it to theirs and bringing them up to their level and having an experience that is just incredible, and it's going to be something that they're going to cherish for.
I so agree. I absolutely love that. The kids' reaction.
Well, we've had a chance here to talk about the cosplay community, to talk about what cosplay is, and real quick. Now we're in the studio, and speaking of the double, little cosplay Michael walked in. So cosplay Michael, you're going to get it one chance to weigh in on the show. What do you love about cosplay, and what do you love about your cosplay community?
Well,
Ding, ding. It's like Jeopardy. Ding,
Okay.
ding, ding. Go ahead.
We've only got an hour, Michael. Come on.
That's right.
well, my favorite thing about cosplay is making other cosplay friends.
Uh-huh. Like who?
Like Charles.
See that? He's on the call with us tonight.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, he says yes. Yes. Look,
You just like
actually,
that
you
his
see
name was
pictures of all
called
your
out
friends that are on the
first.
call. Suck up.
Okay.
Okay. So, well,
One more thing about cosplay.
what's that?
It's for everyone.
Cosplay is for everyone,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Outstanding.
it is. Very much so.
Okay, well, we've talked about the cosplay community, how welcoming it is, and what cosplay is. In the next segment of the show, we wanted to talk about the fact that there are multiple. Everybody does cosplay for a different reason, but in addition to as a hobby, in addition to as a way to reach out to charities and things like that, this can also be a profession. And so we've got a couple of cosplayers that are online with us tonight, some good friends of ours, who are taking cosplay to that level, to the next level. So we're joined tonight by Cos-A-Commotion, Shellane Demarest. Shellane, are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
And we're also joined by cosplayer Trey Maxx. Trey, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good. Good.
All right. So you guys have been on the call, and you've been hearing everybody talk about cosplay and why they do it and what they do. But we, at this segment of the show, you guys have actually found a way to make this more than a hobby, to make this a living. So, Trey, tell us a little bit about that. How did you go from those first cosplay moments to where you are now?
Sure. And one thing I did want to hit on, I was on the call listening to you guys about the bullying. One thing that I wanted to bring up is for everyone out there that's a bully, there's 20 of us out here that'll back you. I mean, there's 20 of us out here, 30 of us that'll back you. So,
and they're all superheroes, guys, so you better not
That's the bottom line. I mean, we're all out here to have fun and have a good time, and for anybody out there that wants to bully somebody, you got 30, 40 of us that got your back. So I wanted to get that off.
Awesome.
But as for me, I got into the military. I'm a little bit different story than some of the guys here. I got into the military through Heroes for Hire. When I got out of the service about 10 years ago, I had PTSD, severe PTSD, 3 combat tours, and I was actually trying to figure out a way I could, handle the PTSD. And some friends of mine that I knew from the service were part of Heroes for Hire, which is a huge vet organization, and they make their own costumes. So my story goes, they wanted me in the group, but you got to make your own costumes. And it just, for me, it was almost like a gift from God. It just clicked, and everything just fell into place about 6 years ago. So for me, I go all over the country doing it. I was in L.A. a couple of months ago for the Sci-Fi Channel. But also I do commission work too. So for me, it's not just about going and doing the shows and winning the contest, but it's also about doing commission work too. I do a lot of commission work as well. So for me, I try and do all of it together. I do my own builds. I do builds for, the NFL. I have a guy I did a build for just recently, Mo Hicks from the 49ers. He has his own independent comic book. And I did his main guy called Rush for him. So I try and do a lot of things, incorporate not only all the cons and the shows and appearances and hospitals and, Shriners at St. Jude and Make-A-Wish Foundation, but also do my own commission work on the side as well. So when I do that, it all comes together pretty well for me.
That's fantastic. Shellane, tell us a little bit about Cos-A-Commotion.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, because I have somebody else with me.
Oh,
hey guys, it's Dean.
Hey, Dean, how you doing?
Hi, Dean. Hi, Shellane.
Hi, Terance.
It's great to see you guys online with us. Guys, why don't you guys share a little bit about Cos-A-Commotion?
Okay. Oh, sorry. I had a little trouble hearing you. Yes, about Cos-A-Commotion. So we are a set play group, and we travel around to cons with a trailer, and we bring our set to the cons. And depending on what our subject matter is, what's hot. Right now, we're looking forward to, not Guardians of the Galaxy, Infinity War. And we're going to be doing an Infinity War set for a good part of the year. We travel with a set. We have great characters that look just like the actors, and people come in and they take pictures with us and get to take home a memento of their visit with us.
Well, out there on Krypton Radio, if y'all don't know, the Cos-A-Commotion is what I have called online a complete immersion convention experience.
I like that.
When you step onto the set of a Cos-A-Commotion set, you're in a brand new play world, and Shellane and Dean are there to play with you.
Yes. And so to elaborate a little bit on what Dean said, so we are creating an experience. So we've kind of changed even our tag. Instead of just Cos-A-Commotion cosplay, it's Cos-A-Commotion live, because it's an experience. So we want to. We've almost brought, maybe, if you will, a little bit of Universal, because that's both of our backgrounds. We both work for Universal Studios. So when we go into our character, we learn, their speech, their walk, their little nuances that makes that character, and that's what we bring to the show. So when they step into our set, they become part of that experience, and we give them props for them to hold. And when they take that keepsake home, that's when they can look back and say, wow, I remember seeing them. I remember being in their set. It was so cool. So
this is Terance. I could definitely 100% vouch for that. And they have the little animatronics there, too. It just makes it so real.
It is. It's an amazing set. Now, Trey, you said you just came back from L.A. Where you did a little something for the Sci-Fi Channel. Want to tell us a little bit about that?
I was actually, it was about 4 months ago. I was in Burbank for them. They're doing another. It was for Cosplay Melee. I did the show out there. It was on the finals, one of the finals out there. So I got flown out there for a couple of weeks, helped them out with that show. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, the bottom line is my whole thing on it. If you're going to do this full time as a professional cosplayer, keep all your options open. I mean, I decided early on in this that any chance I had to take, I'd go for it. Period. No matter how crazy it might seem, I'm doing it. I'm taking it, and that's my whole thoughts on that process. And then, one thing I could definitely hit on is becoming the character. I mean, that is so important. If you want to really get out there and do this full time, you got to research the character. I'm great at armor builds, but become the character. Like I told the guy in the interview for Cosplay Melee, there's two parts to it. There's cost and there's play. So you got to, the play part is one of it too. You got to become the character. So not only make the costumes, but the play part's just as important as well. Become the character. So I can definitely
play in your cosplay. Everybody, put some play in there. All right, Christian. Christian, these guys are doing this as professional cosplayers. What do you think of that, man?
Well, not only I think it's wonderful and well-deserved, I've always wanted to state, and this goes for Cos-A-Commotion, there's two types of cosplayers I've always dealt with in the cosplay worlds. There's behind the table and front of the table. And what I mean by that is the behind the table are the cosplayers that they sit there and sometimes I even wonder, what are you doing here? They're playing on their phones and stuff, and they're just not interacting, and they're not performing. They come around behind the tables, and then, it's almost like, you're pulling teeth to get a picture with them. And then you've got the front of the table cosplayers, which is Cos-A-Commotion, which is Cecil Grimes, which is the con artist, which is everybody here, which is they're in front of the tables. They want to bring you into their world because they're in front, and they take you into their world and immerse you into the world, act out the part, and make it for the moment that if it's only for just a few moments, that you're in front of them and that you're interacting with them, and for that moment you are part of their world.
Yeah,
and those are the cosplayers I have the respect for the most.
And this is the thing. Today's world, the pop culture convention community, we really did. We went from subculture to pop culture. And a part of that is our cosplay community, because our cosplay community, those are the ones that are interacting with people even before you buy a ticket to a convention, before you bought your first comic book, probably before you've seen your first movie. These are the people who are interacting with you in costume and making you feel a part of the world and a part of this community. We want to know real quick, other than your own, we're going to go around the whole panel here, other than your own cosplay, what is the best cosplay you personally have ever seen or interacted with at a convention? So let's go ahead and start with Trey. Other than your own. Now, Trey, to be fair, we saw your plans for Deathstroke coming up, and we're dying to see that, for real. What's the best one that you've ever seen?
For me, it was at BlizzCon. I mean, Garrosh. I saw Garrosh there for World of Warcraft, and that just blew my mind. He had everything incorporated, not only the armor builds, but he had in there latex and the foam undersuit for the muscles and the braids. And, you know, Garrosh is a horde, and he's an orc, and the guy was amazing. I mean, I forgot what his name was, but that build was just, I mean, from the prop, from the axe to everything was so on point. It was movie credential, better than most movies you'd see out there, and it was just amazing to me. So that's the best
and that's
part.
it. You guys have to do something that an actor on set for a movie a lot of times doesn't have to do. You guys have to look good from 360 degrees all the time.
Also, you know, one thing I want to hit on too about what he just said a minute ago. Remember why you got into this. If you got into this to have fun and to make people happy and for the kids, then you're never going to go wrong. But if you got into this for the money off the bat, and you're sitting behind a table and you're looking at your phone for 14 hours a day, then it's not going to last that long. Just remember why you get into this in the first place. It was to make them happy and for the kids, and you're doing the right thing.
That's right. Put the play in cosplay. Shellane, Dean, what do you guys deliver? Multiple cosplays. You did Guardians of the Galaxy this last year. Before that, you had the Gotham set. You guys brought a Fish Mooney and Penguin that could be easily mistaken for the actors from the set. So
I think you guys were at one point.
Yes, I actually have on video where Robin Lord Taylor, I was sitting in his chair. This was at Heroes and Villains in Orlando, and they had me sit in his chair because he went around back for a meet and greet. And when he came out of the chair for a split second, he thought I was Jada. And when you look at the video, you can see how he has goosebumps. And then he actually takes his phone to take a selfie with me. And one of those, and he was going to take that picture and send it to her to show, like, this girl could be your twin. And that was, you know, that was one time where, you know, I was like, wow, this is, we really need to go forward with this. But to kind of backtrack on what Trey was saying as far as the experience, one of my fondest moments was when we were at Claremont 2 years ago, Claremont Comic-Con, and there was a girl that was so, like, she was fanning out so bad she couldn't come to our booth. And then finally we went out to her, and we also have that on video, and she was shaking, she dropped her papers, she was crying, and it was just amazing. And of course, Dean, he knows how to sound like Robin Lord Taylor. So in a way, it was a little unfair because he did that, and he extended his hand and went to go shake her hand and introduced himself as Dean and not Robin. But that's when she dropped the papers, and she was just crying so hard I had to hug her because she was, you know. But that's the experience that we go for, and that's,
those are great moments.
It's the
Those
play,
it's
the experience.
You guys set the bar so high. What's the best cosplay that you've ever seen?
Okay, on Facebook he goes by Justin, but this is Fred and Ellie from Jacksonville, and he was on Cosplay Melee also. And it's just, you know, he tells a story where his background was, you know, painting like miniature figures and models, and then you see what he does, and he's like, I saw what he's going to present for Dragon Con, and this thing is like so big. He can't even, like, he has to stand up with it outside his house because it's so big.
Wow.
And it just amazes me.
Wow.
So,
And it makes you want to up your game for sure.
There you go. There you go.
You got to up your game, man. You got to up your game.
Charles, Teea, how about you guys?
I think I have pics with you guys, actually. You and your Joker, your Penguin, I think we have pics together, my armored Batman.
Yeah. Wow, guys. See that? Small world. Charles, Teea, how about you guys? What's the best cosplay that you guys have ever seen? Not y'all's.
I probably have to say Alice and Tabitha's Lestat. I love the way she does makeup, how she can go into the characters and really look like them. That's just an amazing talent that she has.
Okay. We're down to about 10 minutes, so we're going to real quick go around to wrap up that question. Jennifer, best cosplay moment for you?
Best cosplay I've seen? That is so hard to answer. I'd have to say top of the list is a couple that was at Spooky Empire, the last one. They were dressed as zombies in their wedding, like prom outfits. And it was all dried and desiccated. It looked like it had been buried 30 years. And as they went across the stage for the judging, his arm fell off.
I love it.
And I'm like, oh, I did not win this one.
I love it.
So she reached down and picked up his arm and guided him off the stage. It was so beautiful.
Terance, how about you, man? You've been out there taking pictures of a lot of cosplayers. Best cosplay moment, best cosplay you've seen, or best cosplay moment that you witnessed?
Okay, well, for me, since we can't include our own because my wife brought Pink Hammer to life, that's my own character that I created. I can't say that. So I'm going to go with, I live in Orlando, and I go to MegaCon all the time. I definitely want to give props out to Shellane and Dean. Everything they bring is awesome. I've done a photo shoot with them.
Thank you.
I also want to give shout-outs to Rick, the true Aquaman staffer. Rick does great in his Aquaman.
Yes.
And you guys know who I'm talking about. You've seen him before. But every time I go to MegaCon, they just blow me away. I mean, there's so many out there. I can't name one because there's so many. But just to be around it is good enough for me.
It is an amazing community to be a part of. Christian, what are your thoughts, man?
Well, I do have a round-robin question. I'm going to nail this on to Teea and Charles for a second there. This is going to be the most, I wouldn't say embarrassing moment, but has there ever been a time where you cosplayed outside of a convention, went into a location and go, maybe I shouldn't have cosplayed here, or people are looking at me funny, like Iron Man walking into Home Depot and somebody coming up to you and going, you need spare parts there?
Oh, yes. Great round robin question. Okay, guys, we'll start with Charles and Teea. Most embarrassing cosplay moment.
Most embarrassing cosplay moment for me was when I forgot my cod piece for Iron Man at Panama City Beach Comic Con.
Oh my
God. We'll just leave it
there. How'd you get through it?
Very.
Teea?
I said we'll leave it there.
Like, okay.
Lots of duct tape.
Wow. How about you, Teea?
Probably way back when I first started cosplaying. I didn't know the after party wasn't a cosplay after party. It was just kind of like a hangout thing. And I came in full anime.
The only cosplayer at the after party.
Yes.
Wow. Trey, you've been doing this for a while now, and what? How about you? Most embarrassing cosplay moment?
Or most
probably in one of the contests I was in, one of my first contests. I was walking across the stage and the belt broke and my thigh armor fell down around my ankles. That wasn't too fun, so I had to get off the stage with holding my thigh armor up around my waist.
Christian, are you seeing this? We have a lot of pants malfunctions here. We have missing pieces, belts falling off.
Very common.
Shellane, Dean, how about you guys? Embarrassing cosplay moment.
It was sort of an embarrassing moment. It was kind of weird. We were at the Sci-Fi Bartow. I remember this. And it wasn't at the con itself. We were about to leave, I think, first thing in the morning. And we were just packing up our trailer to head over to the venue. We were in full cosplay. And we were in a hotel. And somebody was hanging out of his balcony, saw us. And remember, those of you who know, Bartow, Florida is not exactly Orlando. It's kind of out there. And
exactly.
Some guy leaned over the balcony and he yelled, "Y'all sing?" And I said, "Excuse me, what?" He said, "Y'all singers? Look like singers." I said, "No,
nod your head. It's Bartow."
Yeah,
y'all singers. Wow, Jennifer, how about you? Embarrassing cosplay moment.
I think the most one that comes to mind is the first time I tried to go to the bathroom with Turnip Head as Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. Had an 8-foot scarecrow, and so I had to ask some random stranger if they could hold my scarecrow while I went to the bathroom.
Which is not a question you hear every day.
No, not really.
Terance, last word on embarrassing cosplay moments. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, I can tell you, when you have to go to the bathroom, you got to go, and boy, you got to find those zippers and all that. But probably most embarrassing, my wife did an alternate version of the Pink Hammer called Dark Hammer, and her belt broke. It's a common problem. The belt broke. If you don't take extra precaution to secure it, it breaks, and she was kind of upset, and so was I, but we drove on.
Christian, I know you don't do much cosplaying, but you'd fit right in here. It's no pants cosplay around the board here.
Nobody wants to see me with no camera. That's how you get thrown out of a convention, too.
All right, guys, we're down to about the last 5 or 6 minutes here. So I want to just thank everybody, all of our cosplayers, for coming on the show this week. You guys are all fantastic. We love running India in our travels, and we're so grateful to you guys for being on the show with us tonight. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. And of course, Shellane and Trey, and as this applies to, and Terance, everybody, thank you for your service too, from one vet to another. Hua. So
you're so welcome. Hua.
Yeah.
Here. There you go.
It's amazing how many military veterans are active cosplayers. You would be surprised. I'm one too.
I love the fact that Trey turned his cosplay sort of into his own personal therapy and used it to...
hey, man, you do what you got to do, and I'll tell you what, that's why I do mostly bad guys, though. I don't do too many good guys. The only good guy I do is remotely good, is Batman, but I do all the anti-heroes, so I do all the ones like the Deathstrokes and that kind of stuff.
No, it is. It's great, though. It's great that you've been able to use that to find a new community and a new tribe, and as your kind of therapy. It's awesome.
It helps, like I said, it was a gift from God. It just clicked, and when it clicks, and you know it's going to work out, you just go for it, right?
Absolutely. We're down to about 5 minutes. Christian, any final thoughts on cosplay and the great work that they do in our community?
No, I live vicariously through these guys. They're tremendous and they're wonderful, and I'm glad I can call them. No, I'm not glad. I'm honored. I can call everyone in here friends, and ones I've been at conventions over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
And I think Billy Floyd would say that he would pay exuberant amounts of money to see me cosplay, and I just don't have the gumption or the heart for it, and I think you do need the heart for it, but I love watching what other people come up with. And I just want to let people know, from my experience as watching my friends cosplay, it doesn't matter the money value. It doesn't matter, it depends upon the heart, and this is an art and a craft. And if all you can do is put together something with a paper bag and a plastic bag, I've seen people go to the dollar store and blow my mind against somebody who spent hundreds of dollars on Amazon or something like that, just because they either took it to the next level or they made it their own project. It's your art, it's your value, and what's so wonderful about this cosplay community is that there are no limits, absolutely no limits.
And truly, what we've seen from all of our friends here that are online with us tonight, from Shellane and Dean and Charles and Tia, and from Terance and Jennifer, and we've heard from Trey tonight. There's no judgment in this community. This is a community that accepts you and accepts what you love and accepts what you do. And, we're so proud and honored to keep you all as our friends, and we're happy that you guys were on the show tonight. As we get ready to wrap...
Except for Charles. I always judge Charles, no matter what. Doesn't matter.
Well, we can't help it. Guys, check out these folks on social media. Follow them online. See the amazing things they're doing. You can find them at Cos-A-Commotion on Facebook. You can find the Florida Con Artist. We know you can look up Trey Maxx and Jennifer at Look Sew Good Cosplay. And you can find Terance Baker at the Independent Comic Creators Connection. And multiple other independent ICC groups online, so search those on Facebook and check them out. Thank you guys so much for coming on tonight and being a part of our panel and discussing cosplay. Quick reminder out there to Krypton Radio and everybody out there in Radio Land, if you're at a convention or you go to a convention or a movie or whatever, remember cosplay is not consent, so make sure you get permission to take those pictures. And also remember that cosplay is for everybody. Anybody can do it, and we encourage you to do it. Christian and I want to see your cosplays. So, guys, we have to wrap it up here. As we do, we want to remind everybody out there to log on, tune in, and see who we're hanging with next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.